ongoing thing.
Hello friends, and welcome to another class by Daily English Classroom. In today's class, we are going to learn the lesson Quest for a Theory of Everything by Kitty Gale Ferguson, which appears in the +1 English textbook. As you all know, this lesson is about the famous supernova of physics, Stephen Hawking. This lesson by Kitty Gale Ferguson is about the famous scientist and the supernova of physics. Hello friends, thanks for watching this video. And before we start the class, I want you to subscribe to my channel so that you will be informed whenever we upload a new video. Watch this class completely, and if you think this class really helped you to understand this lesson or this class is useful for you, like the video, share it with your friends. Let's start the lesson. Stephen Hawking. And this lesson begins with the appearance of Mr. Stephen Hawking for a function. It begins with the inaugural lecture of Stephen Hawking, which happened on April 29, 1980. What is the idea that we get about the person from his appearance? When you see the person, you will feel that, is this the person you are talking about? Because he was sitting on his wheelchair and he cannot speak. He was totally paralyzed, and he is able to communicate with the people by using some computer programs. Let's read it. Quest for a Theory of Everything by Kitty Gale Ferguson. In the Cocker-Croft lecture room on April 29, 1980, scientists and university dignitaries gathered in steep tiers of seats facing a two-story wall of chalkboard and slide screen. The occasion was the inaugural lecture by a new Lucasian professor of mathematics, the 38-year-old mathematician and physicist Stephen Hawking. So this is how the lesson introduces Stephen Hawking, how he appeared for an inauguration of a program on April 29, 1980 in a lecture room. The name of the lecture room was Cockcroft Lecture Room. And so many people have come there to listen to this lecture by Stephen Hawking, because he was a great scientist, a person who has overcome all his disabilities and become a great scientist. He is a type of person who has overcome all the problems, the hindrances and impediments, and became a great star. So many people and dignitaries means very, very important persons. Many important persons came there to listen to this speech by Stephen Hawking, because they were all interested. They were interested to listen to Stephen Hawking, and the great genius, the great scientist. They all wanted to meet the Lucasian professor of mathematics, Stephen Hawking. Now, what's a location professor means? Location professor means a professorship in the Cambridge University. So, he was the location professor of maths in that time, and the people gathered there in that room, and this room has got some chalkboard and slide screen, because this is a speech of a person who cannot move or who cannot speak. The title of the lecture was a question: Is the end in sight for theoretical physics? Hawking startled his listeners by announcing that he thought it was. He invited them to join him in a sensational escape through time and space to find the holy grail of science, the theory that explains the universe and everything that happens in it. Now, in the second paragraph, the writer is giving us more details about that lecture. And what was the topic of that lecture? The topic of that lecture was, is the end in sight for theoretical physics? Is this the end of theoretical physics? This question was the topic for the lecture. How we reached the end of theoretical physics? Or is this the end of theoretical physics? And the people who came there were really shocked, because Stephen Hawking says we have reached the end of the theoretical physics. The listeners were really shocked because of two things. One is the appearance of that person, and the second one is about how he started his lecture. He says that he thought that it has reached the end of theoretical physics. It's a kind of searching for the Holy Grail. Holy Grail is the cup used by Jesus Christ for the Last Supper. And there are lots of mysteries behind this Holy Grail. And it is connected with the King Arthur, etc. And it's a mystery. Nobody knows where it is. So, that is the story of the Holy Grail. In the same way, we do not know where is the end of the theoretical physics. And he invited the listeners or the dignitaries who came there to join him in searching for this secrets of the universe, the secret of the nature, the secrets of universe, that is theoretical physics. Theoretical physics is a branch of physics that deals with or that explain and predicts the natural phenomena, what is happening in this and what are the reasons for this. And it also predicts what is going to happen in the future. So it's a branch of physics that deals with the natural phenomena, and that is called theoretical physics. And Stephen Hawking is talking about theoretical physics, and he says that it's a very interesting field because it is like searching for the Holy Grail. It's something mysterious. Okay, let's continue. Stephen Hawking sat silently in a wheelchair while one of his students read his lecture to the assembled company. Judged by appearance alone, Hawking did not seem a promising choice to lead any adventure. So he started his lecture by inviting all the people to join an adventure, like searching for the Holy Grail, searching for the secrets of the universe. But that person who asked the people to join in the adventure was not looking very healthy. His appearance is really shocking to all the people. He was sitting there in a wheelchair. He was paralyzed and he was sitting there in a wheelchair, and who is reading out the lecture? He cannot move his body or he cannot speak a single word. So one of his students is delivering the speech for him. One of the students is giving the lecture for him. And he was reading the lecture for Stephen Hawking. And judged by his appearance, he is not a promising choice to lead any adventure. So when he started his lecture, he said that he was starting an adventure, but this person doesn't look like a strong person for any kind of adventure, because he is crippled and he is sitting there on a wheelchair, not able to move his body or to speak, and he is helped by one of his students, who is actually talking to the dignitaries and the people who came there to listen to the lecture. He is reading the lecture to the people. Okay, now let's go to the next paragraph. Stephen William Hawking was born on 8th January 1952 in Oxford, England. It was exactly 300 years after the death of Galileo, the father of modern science. Frank and Isabel Hawking, Stephen's parents, were not wealthy, but they believed in the value of education. So they planned for Stephen to go to Westminster, a famous public school in the heart of London. Unfortunately, Stephen was ill at the time of the scholarship examination for Westminster. Therefore, he attended the local St. Albans school. So now we get more information about this person, Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking was born on January 8th in 1942 in Oxford, and his birth happened exactly after 300 years the death of Galileo. And his parents, his father's name was Frank Hawking and mother was Isabel Hawking, and they were interested in giving good education to their child. They believed in the value of education, so they wanted their son to go to Westminster for getting good education. So there is a scholarship, and once you pass that examination, you can go and study there in Westminster. But very unlucky for Stephen Hawking, he was not good. He was not physically good at the time of the examination, so he could not attend the scholarship. So he was actually forced to study in another school, that was St. Albans School. By the time he was 8, he was thinking seriously about becoming a scientist. Frank Hawking encouraged his son to follow him into medicine. But Stephen found biology too imprecise. He wanted a subject in which he could look for exact answers and get to the root of things. So the father wants Stephen Hawking to become a doctor and to concentrate in medicine. But Stephen Hawking, he was interested in becoming a scientist. He is not interested in the medical field, but he was interested to become a scientist. And he found that biology is too imprecise. Imprecise means not correct or not exact. Stephen Hawking thinks that biology is not correct or exact like science. So he wants to be a scientist and to know the exact reason of things. He wanted exact answers and get to the root of things. Now let's read the next paragraph and let's learn more about Stephen Hawking. Young Stephen was no prodigy, He was just an ordinary English schoolboy, slow in learning to read. His handwriting, the despair of his teachers, he was ranked no more than halfway up in the class, though he now says, in his own defense, it was a very bright class. So Stephen Hawking was not a very gifted or talented student. He is a genius in science later on, but in the beginning, when he was a child, when he was just started his education, he was just an average student, not very high or not too bad. He was standing somewhere in between these 2 points, an average student. He was just an average student. He was just an ordinary English schoolboy. He was not good in reading and he was a slow learner, and his handwriting was not so good, which really made his teacher unhappy. He had a bad handwriting style, and he was just an average boy in the class.